The lights are taking effect here at the Cardinal Athletic Complex as we have our second of two lacrosse games here tonight at Coon Rapids High School. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Hupp, and it's time for boys lacrosse after the girls lacrosse team played Champlin Park and ultimately fell 18-1 in the opener. The nightcap of our lacrosse doubleheader finds the Elk River Zimmerman Elks with a record of 3-4 coming in to take on the SLP-CR Catbirds, the combined schools of Coon Rapids and Spring Lake Park, forming one team. They will be blue on your scoreboard, Elk River and Elk River Zimmerman, as you see Thomas Haugen there leading the Elk River Zimmerman Elks, who come in 3-4 as we said on the season. They've won 2 of their last 3 games, and their only loss in that time was to perennial powerhouse Maple Grove, 11-7. SLPCR will be blue on your scoreboard, blue and red. So you see them in the white uniforms getting set to go. They've had a couple cancellations, so they only played 4 games this season. They're 0-4 in those games. But it should be a pretty competitive matchup tonight here in Coon Rapids as Elk River takes on SLPCR. Spencer taps gloves with Cruz Clay. Owen Spencer and Cruz Clay going to get set to do battle at the face-off spot, as you see Leighton Long there on the attack. Again, Elk River Zimmerman in the red and black. Coon Rapids Spring Lake Park in the blue and red. And we'll call them the Catbirds because it's a combination, obviously, of Panthers and Cardinals. So not an official name, just our fun little nickname. Cruz Clay wins the opening face-off, and we are underway here under the lights at the Coon Rapids Athletic Complex. Elks go to work on offense. In the stick of Big 77, Blake Reinhardt, the sophomore attackman. 6 goals and 5 assists on the season. He gets it to Hayden Barnes. Senior midfielder works it near side for Mason Gates. Elks patient to pass it around as Dylan Langley stick handles. 7 goals and an assist on the season wearing those bright red shoes. The top for Hayden Barnes, watched by Spencer. He's got the short stick. Spencer, one hand and really being physical. And I think he may have broken his stick as he comes charging off the field, leaves his stick on the ground. And he's not happy as the ball is loose on the deck. Cameron Hausker, the backup, is in net. He saves his first shot. First shot he sees off the stick of Elijah Pangborn, the senior attack. And he tried to clear, but ultimately Dylan Langley forced the turnover. Ball is still loose on the deck. Finally scooped up by Leighton Long. He gets a touch, and now it's time for SLPCR to go to work offensively. Spencer jogging out of the box. It's in the stick of Dean Romaker. Worked near side for Blake Lueck, who was an outstanding hockey player. He is an outstanding hockey player. That shot from Spencer doesn't find the net. Instead, it is cleared by the Elks. In the stick of the speedy defenseman. Given out of the box to number 23, Connor Tyson. He gets a touch, and the second line unit will be out there now for Elk River. Cruz Clay, obviously the face-off specialist, but also second line midi for this Elk River Zimmerman Elks team. Kind of solid in every sport, really. Not many sports that Elk River isn't very strong in. Clay attacking downhill, gets middle and scores! Cruz Clay gets on the board for Elk River Zimmerman, and the Elks take an early 1-0 lead. That was just him beating his man. The slide didn't come quickly enough as he got middle, and the bounce shot beat Hausker. So Cruz Clay scores early unassisted with 9:29 to go in the first quarter. Clay will be back out there to take the face, and after he scored the goal, he wins the face-off, knocked free by Spencer. No possession has been awarded yet. Now possession given to Elk River Zimmerman. Nope, I beg your pardon. They scooped it up with Caden Grassel, the long stick midi, but ultimately it's given back to SLPCR. Weaving his way through traffic. Oh, finally knocked out of the stick by Trayden Erickson Paul, but Ethan Ossie had designs on a goal. He's the long stick midi. He'll trot off. Lueck forced wide. Lueck, one of the leading scorers, and he scores here to tie this game. Blake Lueck, who came in with 5 goals and an assist, gets his 6th. And a great response for SLPCR. Lueck ties us at 1. You just see him get inside defenders, and he went low and beat Ryder Heath, the sophomore goaltender, in net. Heath, a record of 3-4, a 7.42 goals against average, and a .564 save percentage. But he was beaten low there. So Lueck unassisted at 8:42. So they scored just about 47 seconds apart. And lead did not last long for Elk River. They win possession here, though, as Clay will try to hustle it up, and then he throws it off the stick of his intended target and not a play. Too hot for Blake Douglas to handle. A lot of seniors on this Elk River Zimmerman team. Good mix of seniors and juniors. And certainly that's bearing out early on as Hausker tries to beat the 10-man ride. Spencer avoids the wrap check attempt of Elijah Pangborn. Owen Spencer passes it off. Save made nicely by Ryder Heath. His long clearance attempt. He is picked up by Henry Leff. And then Leff is quickly stripped by Blake Reinhardt. Both teams trading possession in what is a cool but beautiful night for lacrosse here in Coon Rapids. Teams having a tough time picking up the ball. Finally shoveled forward. Ball still loose on the deck. Big collisions in the midfield. Now, finally, Elk River Zimmerman able to get a touch and get things organized through Elijah Pangborn. Pangborn, 30 points on the season. He will be one to watch, certainly, on the offensive end for Elk River Zimmerman. Hayden Barnes. Back behind at X for Jace Otten. Otten loses it. It's loose in front. Hausker makes the save. Ultimately picked up by Dylan Langley. Langley, a big-bodied junior in the midfield, 7 goals and an assist. A step, bounce shot, and Hausker makes the stop on Barnes. Hausker, good outlet find. Dean Romaker. Romaker gets a touch. Beautiful pass underneath, and SLP takes the lead. What a find to hit a cutting Tucker Anderson for his 2nd goal of the season. Such a quick transition and counterattack here. As you'll see Romaker head up, hits a cutting Anderson, and he beat Heath to give the Catbirds their first lead of the game. Great unselfish play from Dean Romaker in transition. And Tucker Anderson knew where to be. So as the sun continues to set to our left, it's a 2-1 lead for SLPCR. It's a mouthful. I can't promise that I'm not going to screw that up once or twice tonight. Trying to trying to hit a cutting long stick midi. It's loose in front. Finally scooped up by Blake Reinhardt. Reinhardt with a couple players waiting to sub on the fly. Dylan Langley trotting on for the Elks. Barnes finally waiting for the last of his reinforcements, and while he does so, it's stolen. Ball's loose on the deck. Spencer fighting with Mason Gates, but ultimately Gates coming away with it. Gets it behind for Pangborn. Pangborn fakes the pass. Actually, his pass is knocked down. Well defended there by Walker Zeman. So Hofsker will jog it up. 10-man ride employed by Elk River Zimmerman. How patient can Hausker be in the clearance? Oh, good pass, but just dropped by Julian Packard-Rao. Still in the possession, however, as Romaker gets a touch. Still in the possession of the Catbirds. Spencer will try to settle things down. That's usually who they go to when they need a calming influence, as he's their face-off guy. 28 of 54 on the season coming in. He's also got a couple goals and a couple assists. Probably the best stick handler on this Catbirds team as well. Lewick. Well, Lewick just knows how to find the goal. Leading goal scorer for the Spring Lake Park hockey team as well. Spencer switching hands, tries to split defenders and can't. Anderson, Lewick, one hand picks it up. On the left hand, looking for a pass, hits a cutter, and it's out of the stick of Romaker, and then scooped up and cleared the other way by Elk River Zimmerman. Sprinting forward, Greg Hanegraaff, the senior defender, and his shot goes wide. Hausker, I'm not sure what he was, if he was waiting for it to just go out of play. He's battling along the end line now with Connor Thiessen, and now he's got it. Now he's trying to clear, chased by a couple of Elks. Great job by Hausker to find a cutting Romaker. Now things are settled down a little more as Catbirds get a touch, and they'll wait for reinforcements from the box. 3:40 left to go in the quick moving first quarter, and a 2-1 lead after surrendering the opening goal early. Things have really settled down for SLPCR. And the longer they can hang in this game, the better. Obviously, Elk River Zimmerman has had some really good wins this season. They won 2 of their last 3, battled Maple Grove tough. Romaker downhill, tries to hit a cutter down low, and Anderson sneaking out from X, and that pass is errant. Ball loose on the deck. Big hit delivered. And finally, Dylan Langley comes away with it. No penalties yet in this first quarter. Langley has a step, feeds in front, and they score. They tie it through Hayden Barnes as the senior midfielder takes the pass from Langley and finishes in front. Barnes with goal number 4 on the season. Assisted by Langley, and again you see here, he drew the slide. SLPCR caught napping out of position, and ultimately it's pretty easy for Barnes to tie us at 2 late first quarter. Raked behind by Clay. Scooped up by Jacob Kotzian, the captain. Nice little move to shake free of Romaker. Kotzian thought he might try to shoot it. He gets his own rebound off the deflected pass, flips it back, fed in front of Clay, and he's absolutely rocked by Romaker. He's not a small guy either. And I actually think that was Jace Otten, the sophomore attackman, who got absolutely hammered, and that's what you want to do. You don't want to take the stick. Lueck picks it up on the other end, feeds across. I thought he could have just taken it. He tries to shovel it in the goal. That goes wide. Ultimately, Elk River Zimmerman trying to clear it out of the stick of Trayton Erickson Paul, and recovered by Anderson. And then he immediately turns it over on the pass. A bit of a sloppy start for both teams as Clay spins away from pressure. Elk River Zimmerman called timeout to retain possession. And that's something we talked about in the girls' game. Obviously, one of many differences between the girls' game and the boys' game, of course, is that you can call time in possession. They do stick checks during these timeouts as well, and uniform checks. And an illegal stick is a non-releasable penalty. But ultimately, that's exactly what happened right there, as Cruz Clay, who scored the first goal of the game for Elk River Zimmerman, was at risk of losing it. So that's as good a camera angle as you'll get, as head coach Ian Pollard talks to his SLP CR Panthers. Catbirds, I should say. But yeah, Cruz Clay scored the first goal. Fogo is the term for face-off get-off. This is the slang term in lacrosse for guys who only face off. And of course the stick check, and you see the refs in the middle of the field. They throw the flags. The flags are down because illegal sticks have been found on, I think, both teams. Two-minute non-releasable penalty on Dean Romaker. But then also, Cruz Clay was found to have an illegal stick. So each team on the stick check during the timeout gets a non-releasable 2-minute penalty. And so you'll see Dean Romaker, as you see there, kneeling in the box, as well as Cruz Clay, who will also be taking a knee. So it'll be up to guys like Elijah Pangborn to carry the load, and guys like Jacob Curtis to defend him. Tough assignment in Pangborn, but both players. So each team will be down a man to start with just 1:41 to go in the first quarter. And actually, it looks like Leighton Long is guilty of the illegal stick. Beg your pardon. Romaker out there. Long the guilty party on the stick, and the stick checks can be requested by coaches or they can be random. But ultimately, it's an attackman and a midfielder in the box for each team as we're back to action. Brought back into play, Dylan Langley. Already an assist today. Langley spins off Romaker, fires a shot right into the stick of Hausker. Hausker's looked good so far. He's already made a couple saves. Romaker rakes it to himself. Swim dodge past a couple Elk defenders. Anderson out top for left. Thomas Haugen barking orders from the sideline as Romaker will share it with Leff. Trying to get something set up. Leff will jog it behind. 2X, he's watched by number 7, Caden Grassel, the long stick midi. Leff nearing that end line. Grassel. He gets a step on Grassel. Little give and go, bounce shot, and good save by Heath. They love that quick transition as Hanegraaff finds Langley. He avoids a check. Transition opportunity for Elk River Zimmerman, and ultimately they decide to hold it as time expires here in the first quarter. An entertaining first quarter it was, and SLP CR takes a 2-1, or they were tied at 2, I should say, as we end the first quarter here at Coon Rapids.
Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
In order for us to continue participating in athletics and activities,
we need to work together.
Wash your hands often, especially when you're in public areas.
If you're sick, stay home.
stay at least 6 feet away from other people, and do not hang out in groups.
Cover your nose and mouth with a mask or use a cloth face covering.
Help keep us in the game.
Please practice health and safety protocols so we can keep doing what we love. Mask up, Rebels.
Tornadoes.
Cardinals. Bengals.
Huskies. Mask up, Anoka Henderson.
2-2 our score after one between Elk River Zimmerman and SLPCR. Of course, the combined Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids lacrosse program. The nightcap of our girls-boys lacrosse doubleheader here on CTN Coon Rapids. Very entertaining first quarter. Goals by Blake Lueck and Tucker Anderson have the Panthers tied. They come in winless, but they are tied and hanging tough with Elk River Zimmerman after one period. Owen Spencer out there to take the face-off. As usual. A little bit of confusion about who starts out. Leighton Long still on a knee in the box, but and so is Cruz Clay, who normally takes the face-off for Elk River Zimmerman. The Elks win the face-off, though, and they go to work on offense. Hayden Barnes. Both players released as the penalty expires. 2-minute non-releasable it was. Blake Reinhardt, watched by Alex Taylor. Pangborn spins inside, shot fake, and he scores. We talked about him at the top, Elijah Pangborn, the senior, his 18th goal of the season. And you see why there, the inside roll. Beautiful move, and he's very patient. Couple stick fakes. Went right at him. Hard inside roll, and he scored. And that's a little taste of why that young man's got 31 points on the season. So Elijah Pangborn gives Elk River Zimmerman the lead again at 3-2. And this is something that SLPCR has done as Clay wins that cleanly. Now they try to transition with Grassel. Down low for out of the stick of Pangborn. Pangborn could smell that goal. Grassel. Back for Mason Gates. A lot of high point totals on this Elk River Zimmerman team. They certainly have not struggled to score even in their losses, getting in the high single digits at least. It's in the stick of Pangborn as he's watched by Walker Zeman. Power cradle, draws the slide. Hits the cutter, it's loose in front. It's not gonna go out of play. Recovered nicely though by Reinhardt. Unsettled situation. Reinhardt bounce shot. It deflects high in the air. Pangborn able to recover it, however, for Elk River Zimmerman. Hayden Barnes, who has one of the Elk River Zimmerman goals today. Loses it, trying to do a face dodge. Raked back into the crease, though, by Cameron Hosker, who is listed as the backup, but has played really well in that first quarter. Made several key saves to keep the Catbirds in this game. Rollmaker gets a touch. A lot of times you might hear some players calling yellow. A lot of times they'll use colors to indicate if they should go and get that offensive set rolling or wait for support from the box. We'll go to work here with Long out of the box after fixing his stick. Up top for Packard Rao. Long. Behind for Lewick. Such a simple sport in many ways because you really just have to focus on catching and throwing, and a lot of errors are unforced in the game of lacrosse. Long spins off after that passive defense, and his pass is ultimately intercepted by Ryder Heath. And how well can you clear as well? How well can you transition from defense to offense after you get a stop? Good pressure on the clearance. Ultimately, Rollmaker picks up the loose ball. Splits defenders. Swim dodge again. Dean Rollmaker gives it off for Long. He'll fire a shot. Easily caught, though, by Heath. No screen in front, so we saw it all the way. 3-2 our score. 8 minutes to go before half. Doing Langley splits defenders. Pass gets all the way to Hausker. And the goalie, you see him drag that ball into the crease because offensive players obviously can't go into the crease. So it's a safe zone for the ball to be in. Blake Douglas gets it near side for Langley. And Langley will wait for reinforcements in the form of Hayden Barnes. Reinhardt will use a screen, get a step, and Hausker makes a nice save, stones him on the doorstep. Big hit delivered, and fortunately Spencer saw that check coming at the last second as Langley stepped into him. Those blindsided shots, even if they're legal, can be very painful. Back in the possession of the red and white. Spencer tries that wrap check. Thiessen. It's a cutting Kraus. Splits defenders, gets to the front and loses it. Tried to just kind of, Cruz Clay tried to split defenders and ultimately could not. So defense stout. I mean, this is a team as Spencer catches it, transition opportunity, pass for Rollmaker just out of his stick. Loose ball scooped up by Erickson Paul, and he's forced out of bounds. Great pressure over on the far side by Blake Lewick. Spencer gets a touch, and now I think the Catbirds just want to settle things down. Nearly an unforced error there, and that's what I'm talking about, the simple act of catching and passing, especially when you're not under duress. Just need to limit the unforced errors. Lewick, left-hand cradle. Back check forces the turnover. Loose on the ground. And there's our first whistle. Other than the illegal sticks, we have not had a penalty. Job done by the Elks, and they'll try to clear. Pangborn feeds Gates from the box. Langley gets by his defender, and his shot in front hits left. I beg your pardon, hits Trent Burke. Burke battling for the loose ball in front of the crease, but Pangborn comes away with it. Pangborn at X, don't want to overcommit against him. Out high, good save made by Hausker. Finds its way right back into Pangborn's stick. He gets to the front, another save made. Cameron Hausker has been the player of the game for the Catbirds thus far. Stoning a couple glorious chances for the Elks. Long pass, intercepted by Heath, who came out of the net. He has it knocked from his stick. That was an empty net for a few seconds for SLPCR. Ultimately, it's transition for the Elks. In a wild, kind of sloppy game in the early going. Rollmaker spins away from trouble, outrunning Kotzian. Long able to get a touch and then back things out as Spencer and Leff will come on. Neither team has really attempted too many shots from distance. Everything has been roughly around the cage. Anderson looking for cutters, finds Lewick. Bounce shot, scores! Blake Lewick, goal number 2. And SLPCR has tied this one game once more.
SLPCR scoring number 29.
It's not always pretty, but Blake Lewick just gets it done. He knows how to find the back of the net, whether it's hockey or lacrosse. And he demonstrated it once more right there with a great cut. So with just 3:11 left before half, SLPCR continues to hang around. Lewick, his second of the game, a great feed from Anderson. Anderson's now got a goal and an assist of his own. And these teams just keep trading goals. Every time Elk River Zimmerman has taken the lead, the Catbirds have replied. Clay wins that face-off for the Elks. And you're seeing the importance of face-off wins. Obviously, it gives your team possession and really can kind of, but it can be a make-it-take-it situation at the face-off spot. Good back check from behind to knock it free by Leff. Loose ball on the ground. I don't think Reinhardt knew where it was. Taylor trying to dig it out. Finally, Pangborn comes over and gets it. Pangborn, one of the less physically imposing players, and we've got our first flag from open play. Oh, he's waving off the flag. I beg your pardon. The flag was out. They're going to wave it off as a physical defense from Walker Zeman to take down Pangborn, but they're saying play on. And Elk River Zimmerman wants to take a timeout with just 2:33 to play before half. They'll do another stick check, but what I was saying is Pangborn, not the most physically imposing Elk player out there, but certainly skills. And another stick check as is being done, and Spencer also having his stick checked as Ian Pollard has his troops around him. 2 minutes and you can see the check. They'll take out a measurement, they'll put a ball in it, and also just make sure that the pocket's not too deep. As you see him doing there, right there. Making sure the crown, as it's known, is not pinching it. And they'll measure it at the top, and the length of it as well, because too short a stick is considered an advantage too. So not many refereeing roles where you have to have a tape measure, a small tape measure with you. Check's complete, and it looks like Blake Reinhardt's stake is good, as well as Spencer. So both teams full strength after the timeout. And the out of timeout play or setup is always an interesting one to watch. Gives you some insight into the matchups the coaches feel they can exploit. It'll start in the stick of Reinhardt to get things going. Late first half. We'll get it to Pangborn at X. Pangborn back for Reinhardt. Behind him though. Tried a little give and go. All good turnover forced by Hayden Barnes. Still loose as he shoulders off Spencer. Barnes comes away with it. Unsettled situation now. Pangborn out high for Langley. He turns, bounce shot, and he scores. Dylan Langley, a sweet move to get free, and once he got the hands loose, the bounce shot went 5-hole to beat Hausker and give Elk River Zimmerman a lead here late first half. And you just see here, short stick just turned him around with a shot fake. Not sure this spin was necessary, but it was effective to get Spencer off his back. Langley has a goal and an assist to his name in this first half. Now can SLPCR respond with just 2 minutes left to play? Elk's trying to get one more before the break. And in lacrosse, it is a game of runs, and goals can come in bunches. As the most recent goal scorer, Langley, who's got his 8th of the season, backs it out and waits for his teammates from the box. Mason Gates, power left-hand cradle. Feeds middle, cutter, Reinhardt scores. Reinhardt just snuck up from goal line extended, made himself available right in front of the crease, turned around and beat Hausker. So Elk River has now scored 2 straight late here in the first half. You see that feed, and defender was trailing, no slide, no help. And Blake Reinhardt gets his 7th of the season. 5-3 Elks as Clay and Spencer do battle again. And Clay is just winning these to himself. Very little drama. Grassel underneath for Pangborn, and he bounced shot. He somehow missed the net. Oh, I thought that was for sure 3 straight, but Pangborn, that's exactly how you want to do it off the faceoff. And fortunately for the Catbirds, he missed. Wouldn't be surprised to see them hold with just 1 minute left. Langley directing traffic, watched by Spencer, the short stick. Ooh, good defense by Spencer, trying to kick the ball free. Loose ball push on Spencer, so it stays with the Elks. Langley, as they try to get one more, his pass retrieved by Barnes. Big moment here for the Catbirds. They do not want to go down into halftime down 6-3. Langley from the top, leaves Spencer behind. Spins away from defenders. Can't get the pass to Reinhardt. Curtis hounding him. And it goes out of play. So it'll turn over to the white and blue. Just 9 seconds left. He'll feed it to Hausker, who will just chuck it the length of the field as time expires here at Coon Rapids. An entertaining first half of lacrosse here at Coon Rapids. Elk River Zimmerman scores twice late in the second quarter, and they take a 5-3 lead into the halftime break. You're watching high school boys lacrosse on CTN Coon Rapids.
Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing this song. Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers in the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
Five-3 our score at halftime at the Coon Rapids Athletic Complex between Elk River Zimmerman and Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids. First half highlights, and there were a few. It started with a goal by Cruz Clay to open things up early, but Spring Lake Park would respond quickly through Blake Lewick, or rather that was Tucker Anderson. Blake Lewick would give the Catbirds their first lead. And then a beautiful move by Dylan Langley to get free and score. Cameron Hausker played pretty well, but he couldn't stop that bounce shot by Blake Reinert. And that's how we find ourselves at 5-3, but Catbirds still very much in this one. And we will have second half action for you coming up shortly here from Coon Rapids in just a moment on CTN Coon Rapids. Nice hands, drives and beautiful evening for lacrosse. This is the nightcap of our girls-boys lacrosse doubleheader in the opener from the Coon Rapids Athletic Complex, and the sun has taken over, and it's ended up being a beautiful night. Cool for sure, but gorgeous and sun-splashed here. Girls game, Champlin Park downed the Cardinals 18-1, but in this game, Catbirds still very much in this. Obviously, this is a combined team of Spring Lake Park and Coon Rapids, in case you're confused by the blue on the scoreboard. And for Elk River, they are the Elk River Zimmerman Elks. So both co-op programs, Elk River in the red, SLPCR in the blue and white. As Clay gets set to do battle, and in fact the false start is the call on Dean Rollmaker, and so things starting off favorably for Elk River Zimmerman as they go to work, moving right to left here in the third quarter. He'll get it in the stick of number 36 Mason Gates, and he'll wait for Hayden Barnes to join the fray. Gates backs it out against the long pole, finds Barnes, guarded by Spencer. He tried to feed a pass through to Reinhardt, but it got all the way to the stick of Cameron Hausker. Hausker played a whale of a first half. Didn't have any saves in the highlights, but he made several, and he was all important in the clearance, as he's doing right now. 10-man ride employed by Elk River Zimmerman, and that clearance, that pass, intended for Anderson, goes all the way to Ryder Heath. Bouncing ball picked up by Erickson Paul. Trayton Erickson Paul gets it forward. So both teams just trying to settle into some sustained offensive possession in the early going. Elks attacking the west end, obviously where the goal is in the second half for Spring Lake Park. So definitely a challenge for Heath to be looking into that setting sun. Here's the main attack man for Elk River Zimmerman, Elijah Pangborn. As a kind of goal in the first half. Gives it near side for Langley. Fed in front, and Hausker actually missed. Coverage behind by Pangborn. Elijah Pangborn goes to work off the screen. Little give and go on the doorstep. And what a patient opportunity. I'm not sure how Jace Otten had it in his stick for so long with so many white jerseys around him, but ultimately he too missed the net. So Elk River struggling to hit the net in this second half. Langley makes a nice move. Spencer trying to back check. It's intercepted. Back come the blue and white. In transition, Lewick moves inside and he rifles his shot wide. With the glare of the sun, it's very difficult to see with those white uniforms. We'll do our best to keep you apprised of what's happening. Ball's in the possession of the Catbirds as Romaker will get it to Spencer. Couple minutes gone by, third quarter, 5-3 still our score. Spencer moves inside on the left hand, and his pass goes over the head of its intended target and out, looking for Tucker sneaking out from behind, and just a little tall on the pass. Out of the box, Thiessen running away from Romaker. Both teams have actually been fairly effective in the clearance. There's been some spells of ground balls where neither team could really collect, but for the most part, there hasn't been a lot of turnovers forced in that area in between offensive zones. Reinhardt behind net, watched by the short stick Romaker. Reinhardt thought that he had gotten hit in the head. No flag. He still has the short stick at X, which is an advantage for the Elks. We'll pop it out high for Thiessen. Thiessen gets a step. Kind of attacks and then decides to just give it to Clay. Clay moves middle, bounce shot saved by Hausker. Hausker has proven that it's going to take a good effort to beat him from distance. He's a big body in that cage. Romaker using that favored swim move on the right hand. Oh, big time pressure being applied here by Caden Grassel, the long stick midi. Spencer on the left hand. Oh, he was winding up to shoot. He lost the ball. He tracks it down. Unsettled situation. Tried to find Lewick in front. And ultimately just out of the stick of Blake Lewick. Scooped up instead by Trayton Erickson Paul. He goes through the crease for Jacob Kotzian. Kotzian, pressured by Lewick, decides to go back through his keeper, Heath. Heath finds Dylan Langley out of the box. Good find behind Elijah Pangborn. Finally, Langley recovers the loose ball. These unsettled situations as a flag's down. I think they're going to say contact to the head. Now, it's like hockey in that, and they score. Reinhardt gets his second of the game, his 8th of the season, the sophomore attackman.
Goal for Elk River Zimmerman, scoring number 77, Blake Reinhardt.
Blake Reinhardt, he just saw that once you have to react better when the flag is down. And ultimately that goal makes it 6-3. Elk River doubling up Spring Lake Park. And Reinhardt, as you see, 2 goals today for the sophomore. because you still get the penalty and the advantage that comes with the extra man. But Walker Zeman, as you see, in the box, 2 minutes for slashing. So not only do you get the goal, but then you get the extra man, or the EMO as it's known in lacrosse. Can still win this draw, and then if they do, they'll surely try to double up the ball. Ultimately, it is scooped up and won by the Elks, and they go to work on the offense. Reinhardt gets a touch. They'll have Langley and Barnes coming from the box. 6 on 5 for the next minute. As they sub Clay out, get Gates on, and now they've got their full attack complement. Langley watched by the short stick as Trent Burke, we've seen him have the long pole and the short stick today. Pangborn fires a shot, and a good save by Hausker. Pangborn tried to pick out the top corner. Hausker throws it down. It's intercepted by Drayton Erickson, and then I'm not sure who he was throwing to on the near side, but he turns it over. Erickson, Paul trying to find a teammate he thought was going to be there. Instead, Rowmaker will try to kill off some valuable seconds. And indeed, the penalty has released. So harm was done after the penalty had been announced, but ultimately not when they had had a man in the box. So Catbirds go to work on offense. They need a goal. They've surrendered 3 straight after having been tied at 3-3 early in the second quarter. Rowmaker backs it out. He's trying to assess the situation. Not a lot of urgency from SLPCR. That pass is errant, and it runs out of play on the near side. Lewick a little confused as to whose possession is. And Langley out of the box. He's such a valuable target, but a good defensive play to knock it free by Packard Rao. Flag is down on the field, so I think it's going to be a hit to the head. It's one of those sports where you can hear that from here. Many of those slashing penalties. Catbirds want to have a good possession here. Lewick fires it wide. Right idea. He just knows how to take space and cut. And ultimately man down. And indeed, Jay Sutton gets the slash for a minute as he was trying to dislodge the ball on the clearance to the attackman. You can see Ian, you can see Thomas Haugen coming over and whispering something to him, and doing a little hard coaching, I have to think. Blake Lewick gives it for Spencer, who winds up, and it right into the stick of Ryder Heath, who was behind that all the way. Again, no traffic in front. Saw it all the way clearly, and it's going to take a special effort to beat the goalie there. Spencer does have arguably the hardest shot on this SLPCR lacrosse team, but ultimately well defended on the far side to get the ball back in the possession of the Catbirds. Knocked free from behind. Ball still loose on the deck. Spencer battling with Jacob Kotzian. It's raked free as the lights start to take effect here at the Coon Rapids Athletic Complex. Loose ball scooped up by Walker Zeman. Finds its way to the stick of Henry Leff. Catbirds have to give something here. That shot fired wide by Ethan Aussie. Midfielder's got a goal and assist on the season. Good backup though by the Catbirds. As you see Aussie charging forward. And no objection. The defender ducked, in fact, as he wound up to take that. Good shot, just not on target. Ossie has it back on his stick near side. Nice move by Lewick to get free. Bounce shot, he scores! Blake Lewick, goal number 3, the hat trick for the junior. Like you said, he just knows how to find the net. This one was a beauty to bring the Catbirds within 2. You just see Ossie just gets it to Lewick. He makes a nice move, gets beyond his defender. Bounce shot, and he got away from Grassel and beat Heath. And that is the recipe. I think if you shoot it high on Heath because he's a bigger goaltender, he was gonna stop that. His frame takes up a lot of the net, and he's quick, and so he can stop those high shots. I think the key is to go low, and Lewick has found that recipe for success. Oh, face-off win, and that shot whistles wide by Leff. Interesting that Leff took that face-off instead of Spencer. As you see, Ryder Heath, the sophomore, quick. I mean, he moves quick. He's athletic for a big guy, but usually with big guys, and he's taller, usually the way to beat them is by going low with those bounce shots, and that's what Blake Lewick has had success with tonight. He's got a hat trick. Transition chance for Elk River. Blake Reinhardt gets the touch and then goes to work. They really like to set things up once they've got possession. Power cradle for Hayden Barnes, avoiding the check of Leff. Dylan Langley backs it out, watched by the short stick. He loves to just spin back over his right shoulder. He's got his hands free. Great save made by the goaltender, Hausker. Sweet move in the open field by Spencer. Spencer's got Lewick to his right. He goes it alone, and he scores! Owen Spencer, his 3rd goal of the season in transition. The bounce shot beat Heath. And just like that, SLPCR has scored 2 straight. As you see Spencer in transition, he could have passed, he chose to shoot, and it was a good choice indeed. So Lewick has 3, Spencer now has 1. And where it was a 6-3 game, it's now 6-5 with just 2 minutes and 12 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
If the inline's here, you spread them out.
That was a sweet series of actions as Spencer scooped up the loose ball, got by a couple defenders in the open field, and then once he got his arms free, as you said, he's got a hard shot opportunity here, and Elk River gets it right back. Jace Otten, goal number 4 on the season. And that was as simple as just a little give and go, and Otten, despite a tough angle, bounced it past Hausker, as you see here. And who else was it created by but number 34, Elijah Pangborn. Pangborn gets the assist to go along with his goal. And Otten the recipient, and it was that simple. Pangborn drew the slide, Otten cut to the goal when his man went over to defend Pangborn. And so now it's 7-5 late in the 3rd quarter. So it kind of started a little sluggishly, but the goals have started flowing. And a great response from Elk River Zimmerman to get that goal back and make it a 2-goal game. Credit to the Catbirds, though. They have hung around and played tough. Clay wins this draw forward to himself and gets possession for Elk River Zimmerman. And then he's crunched between a couple defenders, and the Catbirds force the turnover. They get a touch through Ossie. playing with that long pole. A lot of interchangeable short sticks and long sticks. Spencer a little casual. Will wait for Packard Rao to come on the field. As Spencer will attack Clay, the short stick. Gets to his left hand. Passes across. There's a shot. That goes wide. Henry Leff was gunning for his third goal of the season. 1:20 left in the third quarter. Getting noticeably chillier as the sun sets. Spencer will once again attack down the right alley. Little shot fake with the pass fake with the left hand. Definitely know that he is a left-hander. You don't want to force him right. Goal line extended, hits a cutter, they score! Great feed to hit a cutting Julian Packard Rao. SLPCR just will not go away. A great cut by Packard Rao and a great find by Spencer, who always had his head up. You just see the cutter, and he had beaten Kotzian. So Julian Packard Rao scores the goal. Spencer's got a goal and an assist in this quarter. And it's 7-6. Sets up what should be a very entertaining final quarter of lacrosse as the Catbirds search for their first win of the season. This ball scooped up here by Hanegraaff. Gets it in the stick of Pangborn, who will back it out. Elijah Pangborn being hammered by the short stick left. It's not a matchup you necessarily want, though. Pangborn on the short stick. You almost never want an attackman on a short stick defender, as it's just more difficult to guard. Pangborn draws the slide. Elks content to back it out with just 22 seconds and counting left. They hit a cutting Pangborn. He fires it wide. He did a great job just to catch that high pass from Mason Gates. Reinhardt will re-enter it. He's got a couple goals tonight. Reinhardt gets the step, gets in front, bounce shot, and that goes wide. Pangborn closest to it. Just a couple seconds left in this third quarter. Pass out front, Reinhardt, bounce shot, and they score. He caught the Catbirds napping. Reinhardt gets a hat trick as the quarter ends, and that is a killer goal to give up. At the end of the quarter, Blake Reinhardt's got a hat trick as he just stuck behind. Not sure the SLPCR defense was, and you can see Hausker just kind of shrugging and saying, what is happening? And they're gonna do a face-off as there's technically 1.8 seconds left, but basically as the quarter ended, Blake Reinhardt picked up his hat trick. And again, credit to Pangborn for being alert and feeding him out front. That ends the third quarter. And an entertaining third quarter it was. Sets up what should be a fun fourth quarter. Hope you stay with us. It's Elk River 8 and Spring Lake Park 6 here on CTN Coon Rapids.
So I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Start of the fourth quarter here at the Coon Rapids Athletic Complex. 8-6 our score after 3 quarters of play. And an all-important face-off won by Spencer for SLPCR, Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids joint team. As Henry Leff, the midfielder, gives it near side for Leighton Long. Long spins off a defender. Next goal, you have a feeling, is all important, as this one off Lueck. Couldn't quite get a good shot away. Kotzian will retreat back. Try to clear for the Elks. Through the midfield for Cruz Clay. Clay down low on the doorstep, across for Pangborn, and he scores! Reinhardt fed Pangborn. It's now 9-6 Elk River. Great catch and finish by Elijah Pangborn off the high feed. And again, the transition goals as you see Pangborn bring it down. Quick stick fake. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists today. No surprise there. Goal number 19 to go along with 15 assists for the leading scorer. Reinhardt with his first helper after he had a hat trick. So it's really been Blake Reinhardt. It's really been the attack line of Elk River that has hurt SLP today. And after they won that initial face-off, that turnover quickly led to a goal as Clay wins this one for the Elks. And with a 3-goal lead in the 4th quarter, you better believe they're going to be patient on offense. Dylan Langley from the box. They don't go super deep. They basically run 2 lines of midfielders. Tries to hit a cutting Gates. Picked up by Pangborn. Finds Gates. Crunched between 2 defenders. Somehow gets it off, and he rings off the post. Impressive from Gates that he was able to spin away from pressure and get his hands free, and he rung the post. Re-entered by Reinhardt. Feeds in front. Gates again saved by Hausker. Cameron Hausker makes the save. And now he'll feed Romaker. Dean Romaker, swim move to get by his defender. Good recovery though, and the back check forces the turnover. Oh, a nifty little move. What footwork from Jacob Kotzian. Now the Elks once more in transition. Fed back, down low. And I'm not sure what happened there, but Reinhardt comes up with it. Flag is down. Reinhardt, as the ball is loose, Spencer scoops it up. But obviously the flag means it'll stay down here, and the Elks will go on the extra man advantage. 10:01 to go in the game, a 9-6 lead, and an obviously huge penalty kill coming up. Walker Zeman serving his second penalty of the day. Zeman just a little too aggressive on that. The ball at X. Reinhardt had it. Underneath for Reinhardt, he's got a hat trick, bounce shot. He doesn't actually get to the keeper. And Reinhardt scoops it up, gives it for Pangborn. Out top, Langley steps into one and whistles it wide. Pangborn closest to it. Elks had a couple great opportunities to score before the penalty. Weren't able to convert. Big check delivered to knock it free. Dangerously, wow, Burke goes back to Hausker, and somehow he's able to get it up to the attack. Catbirds now on the move. Big check delivered to knock it free. Kotzian with a nice stick lift. A lot of unsettled situations here. Each team frantic to get the next goal. Elks on the move. Pangborn. EMO still intact. Pangborn hits a cutter, and not sure that was the right move as Hausker's out of his net. Got to be careful. It's loose in the crease, and Hausker retreats back to recover. Kind of lacrosse that I think drives coaches nuts, the amount of risks that are being taken out there. Langley gets a touch, and he will try to settle things down as Thomas Haugen wants his troops to get organized. Langley, or rather Hayden Barnes, looking for his second goal, and he fires that wide. Catbirds closest to it, so Hausker will re-enter this one from the end line. Jacob Curtis goes back to Hausker. Hausker just taking his time, moseying down the field on this 10-man ride. Good outlet pass, finds its way to Spencer for Lewick. Underneath, he scores! Blake Lewick brings the Catbirds back within 2 with his 4th of the day. Very nice in transition. Hausker to Spencer to Lewick. Second time that Lewick has been fed by Spencer. Blake Lewick now 9 goals on the season. He's almost reached his season total. He came in with 5. He's got 4 tonight. 9-7 our score. So much good stuff tonight from SLPCR. Ball being fought for on the far side. Zeman trying to scoop it up. Zeman battling with Pangborn. It really helps when it's a team effort to get those ground balls. There's a loose stick on the deck. Refs letting them play on. I think both coaches want to take a timeout when they feel like they've had possession. Ultimately, a push is called, so it'll go back to the blue and white. Dean Rowmaker starts the clearance, spinning away from Pangborn on the far side. 9-7. Again, that next goal feels all important here. Rowmaker. Ooh, a nifty little move to get away by Kotzing. He's got some sweet feet, and he clears through Blake Douglas. Jace Otten gets a touch. The capable stick of Reinhardt, then that's who you want to have, Pangborn, if you're the Elks. Nearly 6.5 minutes to go, 9-7. Elks on top. Pangborn gets a step, draws the slide. Bounce shot, that goes wide. Barnes missing that. Barnes has missed the cage a couple times today. But a bang, again, Pangborn just very smart in that attack spot. Again, he draws the cutter. This time it's bounced wide from Otten. He fed Otten earlier in the half, and Otten couldn't hit the net this time. Re-entered by Reinhardt. Barnes winds up. This time he hits the net and he scores. Aiden Barnes, the senior midfielder, his 2nd goal of the day. You just see Reinhardt. Very simple. Spencer just not close enough. And ultimately, well-placed shot by Barnes, and SLPCR wants to take a timeout to talk about things. We'll take a quick timeout with them. Elk River leads 10-7 with 6:09 left in the 4th. Ian Pollard talking to his troops. Some all important times right now as they find themselves trailing 10-7. And they have battled tough all night against Elk River Zimmerman, who came in with some big wins and have played a really tough schedule, which kind of explains their 3-4 record. They've got some real talent, as you've no doubt seen on display tonight. A couple players with multiple point efforts, especially from that attack spot. But they've got a really solid top line of midfielders and attack. And after that goal, after the timeout by the Catbirds to kind of settle things down, they win the face-off, and then immediately that errant pass from the long stick Mitty gives it right back to the red, black, and white. Long outlet out of the reach of Kotzian, however. So a break for SLPCR. Rollmaker re-enters it quickly. Left, down low, they score! Great goal as Tucker Anderson gets his second. And they moved it quickly. It was Rollmaker to left to Anderson on the doorstep, and SLPCR just will not go away. Great look underneath. They caught him napping, just like Elk River had caught SLPCR napping at the end of the half. And again, it's a 2-goal game. Anderson, goal number 2. Goal number 3 on the season for him. Goal number 2 today. What a find from left. And that must be something that the coaching staff has emphasized. Move the ball quickly. And a 2-goal lead is nothing to erase in lacrosse. As we said, especially with the face-off spot, this is a game of runs. And goals can snowball. Pangborn. It's a cutting Otten, and they score. And it's all, again, due to Elijah Pangborn. Jace Otten, goal number 4 on the season, his second of the night. Pangborn fed Otten, and Otten scored. And it is 11-8. Jace Otten, his second goal of the night. Pangborn, his 3rd assist, unofficially. Clay wins the draw. On the doorstep for Pangborn, who gets the goal this time. Jace Pangborn, or rather Elijah Pangborn, has a hat trick. Yeah, by my count, 3 goals and 3 assists now tonight for Pangborn. And that is killer. 2 goals in about 10 seconds have all of a sudden made this a 12-8 lacrosse game. Clay wins the draw to himself again. It's not like he's having his wings help him much. He's winning those draws cleanly to himself. Now you've got Walker Zeman trying to press out high on Elijah Pangborn. But he's pretty nifty at just dodging in and out. And you can hear the sideline SLPCR urging their teammates to double the ball because they need it back. These face-off wins, face-off losses not helping. Pangborn, nifty stick handling. He dances back from Alex Taylor. Opportunity here, and that shot whistles high. Connor Thiessen missing the net. Elks always seem to have backup as Ian Pollard looks on concerned with his assistant coach. Trying to feed a cutting Thiessen. Spencer and Rollmaker chasing after it. Rollmaker gets there first. Catbirds in transition. Back check, locks it free. Finds its way to Long. Oh, and Anderson took his eye off it for just a second, and it goes off over the end line back to the Elks. It's so tempting when you're on the doorstep and you know you have a goal-scoring chance to just take your eye off it at the last second. Reinhardt and Pangborn 2-on-1. Pangborn finishes. Almost just a one-timer. Elijah Pangborn, his 4th goal. Goal number 21 on the season for Pangborn. And he has had a hand in the last 3 goals now for Elk River. Big players stepping up at big moments in the game. Reinhardt gets away from Taylor, finds Pangborn, and he just goes low to high. A nice catch. Hausker kicking himself, but there's very little he can do in that scenario. 13-8. The last assist and 2 goals coming courtesy of Elijah Pangborn. Unofficially 4 goals and 3 assists tonight for a guy who came in with 30 points on the season. The leading scorer in both categories for the Elks. They have taken what was a 10-8 game and made it 13-8. A lot easier breathing room as the Elks look to move to 500 on the season. Catbirds go to work on offense, looking to get one back. Long loses out to Blake Douglas, senior short stick midfielder. Pangborn has got a cutting Reinhardt. Instead, he decides to go back.
That wasn't going to be that guy.
Now, SLPCR really needs to pressure the ball to get it back. And they turn it over. Rollmaker goes right to work for the Catbirds. Not sure if they just didn't get a touch or what, but ultimately it's back in their possession. Lueck with 4 goals tonight to lead the Catbirds. Long. That shot never troubling Heath. Heath has certainly seen his fair share of shots. Lueck dancing between defenders, somehow nearly got it to left on the doorstep. It was out of play. It'll stay down on this end with SLPCR. Spencer. Uses the pick at X. On the doorstep, left scores. Beautiful find from Spencer to left to make it 13-9. That ends a 3-0 run. Spencer's had some gorgeous assists tonight by my count. His 3rd helper of the evening. Left converted it. And he was very excited to score that goal. You just love to see that teammate interaction, that teammate camaraderie, and that teammate connection, because Spencer was just waiting and saw him open on the weak side, fed him, and he found him and he scored. 2 minutes to go, 13-9. Clay wins it once more for the Elks. Long stick goal, yeah, why not? Caden Grassel gets in on the act. The long stick mini, the junior, off the face-off win. Wearing helmet number 6, even though he's number 7. Caden Grassel finishes it. We haven't had a long pull goal tonight. It's only fitting. It's been an offensive outburst in the second half. We were 5-3 at halftime. Now it's 14-9 after that long stick goal by Grassel. Pangborn behind for Reinhardt. And those two really have been the offensive catalysts for the most part for Elk River tonight. Reinhardt, inside roll. Pangborn. Hounded by Zeman. Reinhardt gets a step. Tries to go fancy over the head shot. Hausker out of his net. Being hounded by both defenders. Taylor instead will clear for the blue and white. Well, tries to anyway. Goes out of bounds on the far side, back to Elk River. Goals can come fast and furious, as we've seen tonight. But Pangborn patiently just works it around. Reinhardt gets a step. He thought someone would be there on the weak side. No one was. Otten tracks down the loose ball. And with just 30 seconds left, Pangborn just walks it out. Gets a step for Otten, flipped in front, and they score. One more for good measure. Reinhardt gets his fourth. Took a shot as he got there, but
Number 77, Blake Reinhardt.
25 seconds to go. Reinhardt attacking downhill and bounced it past Hausker to make it 15-9. I would say Reinhardt and Pangborn for Elk River are your players of the game for the Elks anyway. For SLPCR, certainly Blake Lueck in his 4 goals. Spencer had a goal and 3 assists. And even Hausker had some big saves to keep the Catbirds in this game, and a frustration penalty for a good measure with just 8 seconds left. Ethan Ossie has sat in the box tonight. Ethan Ose as well as Walker Zeman. You have to imagine they'll just run this one out as Ose looks on. And that will jog it off, and that will do it here tonight from the Coon Rapids Athletic Complex. Elk River comes in. They improve their record to 4-4 on the season. And SLPCR remains winless. They fall to 0-5, courtesy of a 15-9 loss here on their home turf tonight. Want to show you what's coming up here on CTN Coon Rapids. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, folks, for this lacrosse doubleheader. Again, to recap, the Coon Rapids girls fall to Champlin Park 18-1 in the first game, and in the second game, Elk River downs Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids by a final of 15-9. For Neil Hennon and Mike Burlingame and our entire crew at CTN Coon Rapids, I'm Bill Hupp saying good night from the Coon Rapids Athletic Complex. Thank you for watching Coon Rapids High School Sports on CTN Coon Rapids.